years since the global world of film has become more accessible, online and on 1,000 balkanized streaming platforms, the term Bollywood has come to be associated with Indian filmmaking. However, as India is a country with 22 official languages and 1.4 billion people, and Bollywood is a term that specifically refers to Hindi language cinema, already out of date because it comes from Bombay, which is now Mumbai, and Hollywood, it obscures many different language markets, many of which now have their own names like Jollywood, Bollywood, Sandalwood, and Coastalwood. Not making any of those up. We really like saying this is like Hollywood but for blank place, and like half those places are in India. India's largest and highest grossing film industry isn't actually the Hindi language market, it's Telugu cinema. The Telugu film industry is based in Hyderabad and started with one man, Raghupati Venkaiah Naidu, who established the first movie theaters in South India, based first in the city of Madras, which screened European, American, and Indian films. He also founded Star of the East Films, which he would use to direct and produce with his son R.S. Prakash, who also starred in the film, his magnum opus, the 1921 silent film, Bhishma Pratigna, the first Telugu film ever produced. R.S. was sent to Europe before filming, where he studied filmmaking under Will Barker in London, and then at Path in Paris, and he even got to watch F.W. Murnau work in Germany, and then he went to Hollywood. Their Star of the East studio would also be known as the Glass Studio because of their innovative greenhouse lighting techniques. R.S. became a prolific filmmaker, shooting, developing, and editing all of his own early films. From the beginning, and that silent film Bhishma, the Telugu cinema has been known as the center of Hindu mythological filmmaking. In 1932, H.M. Reddy used the Imperial Studios in Bombay to create the first Telugu talkie, Bhakta Prahlada. It was produced by Ardeshir Irani, who had produced the first Hindi language talkie in 1931 and wanted to move into the South Indian market, just to show you how competitive these different language markets were even back then. Starting in the late 1930s, Telugu cinema also began to be used as a way to do social problem filmmaking. Many of their films tackled perceived problems in Indian society. Indian filmmaking was dealt a heavy blow during World War II when the British Raj limited the amount of film strip that was allowed to be used as a scarce resource. The war years, as a time of consolidation, led to a more Hollywood style of actors and actresses under contract to studios, and themes of these films changed from social problem films to folklore and mythology-based films. This would accelerate as the 1950s and 1960s became the golden age of Telugu cinema, with the capital of this filmmaking moving from Madras to Hyderabad, and the establishment of Vijaya Productions, which would become the largest film studio in Asia. Hoping to get more filmmakers to move their operations to Hyderabad, the Andhra Pradesh government allotted 22 acres in Banjara Hills for Annapurna Studios in 1976. And in the early 1990s, Telugu cinema had exploded so much, the largest film production facility in the world, Ramoji Film City, was opened. A complex so big that it's been called a city within a city. This huge infrastructure and popularity made it a perfect medium for the pan-Indian film movement. Starting in the 2000s, S.S. Rajamouli brought big-budget, CGI-laden blockbuster filmmaking to Hyderabad, with the explicit goal of bringing South Indian Telugu filmmaking to India's northern audiences. And tonight we're talking about his 2022 magnum opus, RRR. S.S. Rajamouli has been called India's biggest director ever. All 12 of his feature films have been financially successful at the box office. 3 of them have been in the top 10 highest-grossing Indian films ever. Rajamouli's incredibly successful Bahubali franchise and RRR. RRR stars the megastars Ram Charan and NTR, who has been called the man of masses. RRR is an incredibly epic film, part action film, part nationalistic historical drama, which sees 2 of India's revolutionary leaders, NTR as Bhim, a Gond tribal leader from Telangana who fought for the liberation of Hyderabad in the 1930s, and Ram Charan as Alluri Rama Raju, who fought against the British Raj and was called the hero of the jungle. Both leaders took part in rebellions in South India, Raju in Madras and Bhim in Hyderabad, but not at the same time, and there's no evidence that they ever crossed paths. RRR imagines that they became unlikely friends, but also turned against each other by their relationship to the Raj, and imagines what could have been.
There's hardly any blood. Hit him harder.
It also stars Ray Stevenson, R.I.P., and Allison Doody as the almost comically evil and sadistic governor and his wife. They kidnap Bheem's sister from his tribal village, which leaves Bheem as his village's protector to storm into Delhi to rescue her, putting him at odds with the Raj as well as Raju, who at this point is an Indian imperial police officer. Along with the comically evil governor and his wife, is living their niece Jenny, played by Olivia Morris. This was originally going to be Daisy Edgar Jones before she had to bow out to work on normal people. The film tackles colonialism, India's resilience after the overthrow of the Raj, and makes a powerful plea for Indian unity. Of course, the era of Modi and the BJP's dominance, nationalistic filmmaking and calls for unity are always going to be side-eyed. But RRR is an incredibly enthralling 3-hour epic with action-packed sequences where you can see British colonizers get their ass beaten. Multiple people get tigers and wolves thrown at them. The CGI is pretty great, and they're not afraid to really lean into that part of the filmmaking, combining historical drama, myth-making, and an epic bromance for the ages, as well as some pretty great musical numbers, dancing, and an Oscar-winning song. More than anything, it's a fun movie and what blockbuster filmmaking should be.
धूम थिरके जा पाओ में जान जगा ठुमक धुमक नाचे जा दुनिया हिला दे सारी नाचो नाचो नाचो